Welcome to part 2 of the bunk bed build. That's fun to say, bunk bed build. I know in the last video there wasn't a lot of putting stuff together, so it might have been a little bit hard to follow. I hope this time it'll be easier. As the pieces go together, it starts to take shape. You'll see how it starts to look. It's a bit like a puzzle. You're building the puzzle pieces, and it's not until you start fitting them together that it starts looking like something. It does help to have a drawing. I do have the drawing today. What I'm going to work on now is the headboards and the footboards. They're identical, so they don't matter. It has this big fat board here on the bottom, 2x4 on top, it's up here, and this thin board in the middle. Now, this board is going to get attached kind of right in the middle of the 2x4 boards, and we're going to use biscuits. If you don't know biscuits, you haven't watched Norm Abram on New Yankee Workshop. It's a spin-off of This Old House, which I just watched incessantly as a kid. Basically, a biscuit joiner is this tool. It has a little blade in there. You get it all lined up. Yeah, it just goes out like that. Put it on the board, you set the depth, and then you fire it up and jam it in there. And it cuts a little pocket for the biscuits to go in. Then with some glue and clamps, it hardens up and makes a really strong joint. It's perfect for this sort of situation. I think Norm overdid it a bit with these, but this is a good use for them. So we're going to put it to work. Alright, so the first step is to set the depth. So I've just marked, these are just under 4 centimeters. So at just under 2 centimeters, I've put a mark. Now, I'm going to set the depth on this fence. So this mark here lines up with it. There, very good. Now I'm going to have to change the depth when I switch over to the other board, but this will get all the 2x4s, the 2x materials done. Next step, line everything up. Nice and flush. Then we have to make some marks. I'm going to do 4 across. Spreads them out pretty good. Now with the 2x4, I have this line on the tool. And it needs to line up with that. Alright, these are the biscuits we're going to use. They say type 10 on it. So this has a depth gauge basically, where just switch it around till it says 10. And that, as it goes in there, there's a stop that only sticks it out far enough. So we have the depth set. We line it up with the mark. There you see. There you can see it cut this little groove. That'll get some glue in it. That will go into it. And then on the opposite side, you have another piece that gets glue that goes on top and holds it all together. have these other marks on this board. This height is too tall, so we can find halfway on this board. And this is 18 millimeters. So half of 18 millimeters is, what is it, class? You got it, it's 9 millimeters. So we can now finally start doing some assembly work. What we're going to do is build this in section, well, all four of the in sections. For transport, these are what you can generally leave those together and just take off these middle long pieces. At least that's the way I've transported them before. To connect the headboard and this board to the legs, I'm going to be using these. They're insanely long, heavier than they need to be, but I'd rather have something super sturdy, over-engineered than, there's a reason I didn't buy this at IKEA. Okay, so I have one of the legs here. I've measured up from the bottom 142 centimeters and marked off where the board's going to sit. It's the headboard board. It's going to sit right in there. I need to mark the top one, and then I marked the bottom one to the top of the board is 70 centimeters. That's standard desk height. I was going to get an extra centimeter for the desktop, but I'm not worried about that. And then so then I'll drill some holes and start putting this together. There we go, all four sides put together. Next step is to connect them together and make them into the frame. sudden it's starting to look like something. Yeah, so that's the basic frame. Notice there's no board on this front here. That's for access. For my stepdaughter, there's going to be a couch that fits in there. One of the couches we have, perfect size. And then for my stepson, I have a bunch of accessories to make. I still have to build both ladders and put in the support mechanism for the box spring bouncy thing. Inside here is I have some 4 centimeter by 4 centimeter board that's going to ring this, and the platform sits on there, and the steps have the same material for the steps. The ladder, rungs? The rungs of the ladder have the same material. He gets a desk as well. So, but for now, that's a big step. Added this rail here. It has a rabbit in it, and another one here. And up here, I've added a rabbit into this board. What's it all for, you ask? Well, hold on a second, I'll show you. So my stepson is very much into airplanes and wants to be a pilot when he grows up. What he wants to do is set up his flight simulator on the desk, and we're going to turn this open area here into kind of the inside of an airplane. So I've got several sheets of this MDF, and it's going to ride inside the groove, and we're going to bow it out slightly so we have the bow of the airplane. Then we're going to go through and cut that oval window thing in each section. So then once it's all in, it will look like inside of an airplane. On the outside, we have some blue LEDs that we're going to mount to make it glow and look like it's the sky. We'll see how that works. But for now, we got to put down all the MDF so it fits in place, and then we can work on cutting the holes. So here I'm making a template for the windows that I'm going to use to trace out each window so they're consistent. I think this is about a good size for each panel. I want a nice big radius on the corner, so I'm going to use this yogurt container and just mark all the ends. next step is to build the ladders. They're gonna have 7 rungs each. Each rung is approximately 50 centimeters wide, and it's gonna have a 45 on the end to kind of take the edge off so you don't whack into it. So I've set up the saw at 45 degrees, and we're gonna make the first cut, and then we're gonna put the stop in place and cut them all out. So I've got one more project, one more little accessory to build for these before I take them apart and take them back to the house. This was at the request of Mama Bear. Mama Bear doesn't want her cubs falling out of the bed, so I'm gonna build a little guardrail on top so the kids don't fall off. I told her, you know, they'll only fall off once and then they'll learn, but no, she wasn't having it. So I have to build this rail. It's gonna be pretty simple. Alright, I'm going to try and show you how this is going to go together. I don't have a lot of clamps in the shop today because they're all in a theater holding a set together. This piece, basically it's going to be like a bit like a clamp, so it's easy to remove. This is going to go in back. This piece will go on here. And we'll clamp those together. Then it's going to get two of these. I haven't determined what height they'll be at though. And then across the top, it'll go like that. Maybe down lower, about like that. Maybe down lower. I know, it's not going to be much to keep the kids in the bed. I thought maybe duct tape would work well or cargo strap, but no, we're gonna go with this. So now that everything's done, I need to take it all apart. But before I do that, I need to make sure it can go back together. So I'm gonna go through and mark all the corners. This one is for my stepdaughter. So we're gonna write P1 on both of those corners. P2 over here in this corner.